Live. Good evening. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Board of Directors meetings and committee meetings are open to the public but are not public meetings. All school district residents who wish to make comments should sign in prior to the start of the meeting and request to speak during citizens' participation. Public comment is welcome and all issues will be referred to the appropriate board, committee, or administrator. Comments are also summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment and silence any electronic devices, including cell phones. Roll call. Everyone's here except for Mr. Davis. He's been excused this evening. Notices of communications. Anything, Jason, beyond what's on the agenda?
Just roll into the reports from that building from Franklin, I think it's first.
Okay. We'll have to stand by 1 second. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Under notice of communications, if I would welcome, Dr. Lappy, please. Awesome. If you could introduce them, and we're good.
Sorry, was it good? I'm a fourth grade math teacher, and we want to talk a little bit about departmentalization. If someone could click to the next. Oh, back one. All right, for math, we just want to talk about some glows and grows that we have been noticing so far in fourth and fifth grade with this. Because we went from a 60-minute
Pardon me,
block.
can we dim the lights a little bit near the screens? Thank you.
Since we went from a 60-minute block to more of an 80 or 90-minute block with this, we were able to fit in a lot more support and differentiation with this. So we were able to do more small groups, implement some of the everyday math curriculum games that we never had time for before. Another thing we really pushed this in the past few years with Jackie Fox is counting collections and math flips. So that's kind of building that place value, number understanding, and fact fluency before even beginning our units, and we have a lot more time to continue circulating into our daily activities. We also have appropriate pacing, so I'm able to take from like 1 day lesson, we can span it over a multiple day lesson as well, and stop where we need to stop to do more instruction with. And then we also have time to do progress monitoring so we can see how kiddos are doing with the math fact fluency and computation and kind of growing from there. And in the top right corner, you can see some counting collections and how they can build their place value understanding by working with hundreds, tens, and ones, and kind of organizing different types of materials with that.
My name is Stephanie Clough, and I am a fifth grade science and writing teacher. So in science, we have a lot of extra time during our blocks for hands-on activities. And so one of the things that a lot of those pictures are showing you are some advancing science kits that we were able to use through the Gettysburg College loaning program. You can see a really close-up picture of some worms that was tough for me, but the kids, and those aren't my kids, I was so focused on just that I didn't take any pictures, but the kids did an amazing job. They learned a lot about worms. I've learned more about worms than I ever wanted to learn. But it was really amazing, and it really tied in with our learning about plants and animals and decomposers and how it all tied together. We've been able to do lots of other classroom investigations. We've done a lot of planting. We'll get into testing mixtures, things like that. We've had a lot more time for our SAM lab lessons where sometimes we would only be able to do little pieces of those before. So we've had a lot of time for the coding, and they kind of tie into all the different standards that we're teaching. When we get, I know they're part of that at the bottom there, we have opportunities to teach writing in small groups. Right now, we're working on personal narrative writing, but we'll get into TDA writing, and it'll be easier to get them in small groups based more on their levels. It's just been, we've been able to really get deep into the content, and the kids are getting a much deeper knowledge level. And I've had so many students just say, I love science. So it's just been amazing. Next. So these are from the ELA teachers. We can see up on the top there's just pictures of them working on different, I think they're working on what was called a Codex project, which was kind of a writing activity, an extension activity. But again, it's just the ability to get them reading in a more in-depth way. Students and their interventions are making amazing growth on their progress monitoring. They have the opportunity to teach lessons multiple times. We have the opportunity to teach lessons multiple times, so we're actually able to really feel like we master it. By the third time we get there, we are pros at the content that we're teaching. The teachers feel like they're able to kind of limit their focus, so we really do feel so much more proficient at what we're teaching. And I think this is kind of all of us, even not just ELA, but just sometimes being able to fit in all of the components. The ELA program has a lot of different components, so being able to fit all of that in just that 80 minutes sometimes can be a challenge. So that's, one of the grows is just still, because we're still feeling our way through all of this, getting it all in is sometimes a challenge.
Thank you. Some grows that we wanted to share that we were kind of already looking at as we were getting ready for parent-teacher conferences this week is just kind of unable to meet with all the parents. I think it's going to be hard for us because we teach all the kids and we're just so used to even though we'll communicate outside of the conferences, it's nice to actually sit down with them one-on-one and kind of share what we are seeing in them. So right now, we're trying to jot down notes as much as we can for our colleagues so they feel confident in sharing what we know about them in that certain content area. So we're kind of doing the workload for 3 classes compared to 1. I know it's important, so that's why we are doing it, but it's just definitely different than what we had in years past. And then for science and writing, some challenges with how to transition from science and writing in that one block, since they have to split the block in that way, just kind of transitioning from science and writing. But I heard that Stephanie's doing a great job with it from Dr. Lappy, so. Next slide then, please. One behavior thing that we came up with this year, we were trying to think of a way of how we could communicate with our colleagues and with parents on how the students are doing in each block, because they could be having a rough time in ELA and they come to our block and we're not sure how their behavior or how their mindset is when they enter. So we came up with a homework and behavior chart. It's a way to communicate with families and colleagues, so we kind of just have them fill out so they're self-aware of how they are doing, red, yellow, or green smileys, and just based on their behavior and how much work they are doing throughout the day. And then if they are a yellow or red week, we fill that information out and jot down some notes so that we can communicate with parents. And then depending on the level, we also call home as well. But it's just a good thing to kind of keep them aware of how am I doing, how can I improve myself throughout the day as well. Oh, and then transition, sorry. I forgot about that part. Can we talk about that one? No, it was from the last slide.
Okay. So anyway, we just want to give you a little glimpse into our new world at, all 3 of the buildings are doing that. And so since it was our turn to present, we thought we'd share a little bit of the things that are going well, as well as some challenges and some we haven't faced yet. Like, we're not sure exactly about the conference piece that Rachel mentioned, but we're doing our best to accommodate the families. And, at the elementary level, you get almost 100% participation, and we love that, and we don't want to lose that. So we're working through some of those growing pains. And Stephanie was great telling you about the worms. I told her, I happened to be in there for the lesson, and I was like, you transitioned from worms to writing like nobody I know how. And it was like seamless. It was perfect. So anyway, we'll close with this. I interviewed a couple of our kiddos and got some, they couldn't be here tonight, so we just did a short video and we're going to give you a little bit of their insight into what they think of departmentalizing. Thank you. And I just want to thank these two because they gave up time. Saying yes to this meant no to something else, and this is voluntary, and so just want to thank them.
subject?
I feel good because we can experience what other teachers do. I feel good because we can get to experience other teachers and how they teach. I feel good because we get to see and go around and each of the rooms, what it looks like. I personally like it because I like different teachers and their different ways of teaching.
All right, great job, team. Here's our next question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like or do you feel like you're learning more in each subject with this kind of setup?
Definitely because every teacher has a different style of teaching and all the ways that they teach and what's different about them all really help me. Yeah, because you're going into different ways of learning. So it feels good because like moving around, like it gives you the exercise. I feel good about it because you can learn about different subjects in each classroom.
Okay, thank you. All right, team, here's our next question. How comfortable do you feel moving between classrooms?
I feel good about it because you get to carry all your stuff to the next person's desk, and it feels like you have your own desk in another classroom. I feel good because like you get to move and then your teachers tell you if you have the right materials and you get organized and all set up at your desk. I like it, but it's hard like flipping throughout the rooms. I like it. It is okay with me because sometimes you just have to get up from your seat and move around.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. All right, hang in there. Just a few more questions. You guys are doing great. Fourth and fifth grade warriors here. Tell us about their experiences in departmentalizing. All right, how about this one? What's your favorite part about having multiple teachers?
I like all of the teachers here and having all of them. It's really nice because this year I didn't know about the special ed and I thought that we only would have one teacher, but I like all three of them now and I can all use them really quickly. I like meeting with different teachers and seeing how they learn everything. I like how the teachers like are nice to us and I feel good switching because then you get to like they teach you different things and different subjects. Um, I felt like I was just gonna have a teacher that taught like science, math, and ELA, but they all like switched it into like transitions, and we switched all around.
Okay, very good. All right, you guys ready for the final question?
Yeah.
All right, is there anything that could make this departmentalizing better for you as learners?
Probably like people being more quiet in the hallways. Probably a lot of people like um, waiting outside for a really long time if someone finishes early. I think what would probably be a bit better is that people aren't shouting in the hallways and just be quiet and pay attention and wait for your teacher to come out and let you guys in.
board recognizes Al. Go ahead.
Dr. Lappy, what all grade levels are departmentalized? Is it the entire school? Just fourth and fifth. Gotcha. I really like the idea that you can teach kids a lot deeper. You're not rushed to get through a lesson and time to do the hands-on and whatnot. And it seems to me also with integrating writing and language arts into what you're doing, whether it be science or math, sometimes you as a teacher have to be creative, but it really is then authentic writing. Am I right? And then as you progress monitor, how often do you try to progress monitor?
Well, with math, I do it every 5 to 6 weeks. So as they're kind of going through, I just update, and I've already seen great growth from just the beginning of the year until I think I did it in like mid to end of October. And I've had like some students double their beginning of year score with that. So.
Right. Would you agree that maybe the biggest advantage is being able to not just teach the surface standards that PDE is recommending, but you can really go deeper and again, depending upon the kids and their interest level and motivation on certain topics, they can really take off. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you have an overview or no? Yeah, that's what I meant. The overview.
Our next presentation, Jen Wagle, our school social worker, is going to do a presentation about our homeless population.
Hi, everyone. Like you said, I'm the district social worker, and I'm also the homeless liaison. So I just wanted to, I think I gave some information to Dr. Matzner that he shared, and I just want to kind of add to that a little bit, branched out a little. Go ahead, John. I'm going to go through these first couple slides pretty quickly because this is some of the information you guys already heard. So the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act is a federal law. It is just to ensure that our children and youth experiencing homelessness have the same access to education or to public education as our other children and youth. Go ahead. Basic definition is that if we're looking to see that individuals who are lacking fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, those are the three, I guess, buzzwords, if you want to call them that we are looking for in that situation. Just kind of break that down a little bit more. Fixed, obviously, is having a secure place somewhere that they lay their head at night. It's a nighttime residence as somewhere that they stay in place permanently. Regular, pretty self-explanatory as well. Regular residency that they use on a nightly basis, every night, every day of the week. Okay. And adequate, making sure that it is reasonable, that it's sufficient, that it's somewhere that's safe for them to be staying, that they have, it's meeting their needs physically and psychologically in their environment. Okay. So these are kind of the categories that students or families fit in that we would consider them homeless. One is sharing housing due to lack of housing or economic hardship. If they're living in hotels or motels, campgrounds, somewhere like that, living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, and then we have our migratory children, and that would be children who their parents or themselves are working seasonally. It's temporary, and they move in the last 36 months, so they're not in one place for very long. Our unaccompanied youth are children or students that are not living with a parent and guardian. Now that, just to give you kind of a heads up there, can be from our high schoolers, but we also have some elementary students who are considered unaccompanied because whoever they are living with, whether it be a relative or a family friend, or that person does not have custody or guardianship of those kids. So they're considered unaccompanied. Okay. So the state of Pennsylvania has, it's Pennsylvania Education for Children and Youth Experiencing Homelessness program. It's called ECHIA. Our region is Region 3. We like to say ECHIA We have very fun and very informative people who run our region. But I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of the counties that are in our region. Go ahead. And these are our wonderful people. Our regional coordinator, Sonia Pitsy, actually had experienced homelessness herself as a child. And then Missy and Liz know just about everything and anything. So if you ever had any questions, they'd also be more than happy to come and speak to you guys if you would like them to. One thing that I'd like to do and that I know they'd be interested in doing is a poverty simulation. Where we would have to have quite a few people sign up, but it would give us the ability to kind of see and experience what homelessness feels like for our families and our students. So Pennsylvania, the ECHIA does a state report every year. This is the one from 2022-23. It's the most recent one that's out. Just to kind of give you a breakdown statewide of how many students have been identified statewide. 4,000 of those, a little over 4,000 are those are from Adams County. I also wanted to kind of give you a breakdown of what the schools are reporting around us. Our number is the highest, but don't take that as we have more homeless than other individuals. Our number is higher because we are really working to identify and know who our homeless students are, where they are, helping our families out to experience, get with them whatever they need, whether that be food, clothing, shelter, hygiene items. We help a lot with that, those kinds of things. So during that year, our number was 90. But like I said, I have a feeling that the other numbers are going to go up as they start to explore more and figure out how they can identify their students as well. I'd say right about now, I think when I gave you the number, it was approximately 40-ish that we had identified. We're up to about 50 or 60 within that past, 2 weeks from me reporting that. So just to kind of show you how quickly it can grow. Okay. So these are some of the things that we offer. We help them, help students and families register for school. If they need any kind of services, we can help them apply for those services, such as SNAP or housing. We offer transportation. We don't really do a lot of that, but that's up there. As far as if we have students who maybe were in the district and they move outside of the district, but they're like in Upper Adams or they're fairly close, our transportation department under McKinney-Vento, we are required to provide transportation for those students to continue because the whole point is stability, school stability. There's nothing stable in these children's lives, and we are doing the best we can to provide that for them. So there's just a couple other things that we do, hygiene items. Next week is actually Homeless Awareness Week. So we'll be doing a dress down on Friday. It's Wear Red on Friday, and a lot of the staff will either donate gift cards or monetary donations, or we collect hygiene items for our students so we can hand that out to the shelters or to individuals that we know need it. So just kind of throw that in there too. Different ways that you guys can help. Again, Homeless Awareness Week, Wear Red, November 15th. The hygiene items is always a need. Clothing to the clothing closets. Currently, we are looking for coats and socks and some other items like that. Mostly for our secondary students, there seems to be kind of a dip in that area, a missing link, that there's a need there more for them than our primary students. We also have a partnership with Community Aid, and that is our ID up there for Roos Harvest. Roos Harvest, if you guys, I'm not sure how much you know, they have food bags that get taken home by students on Fridays, just to provide them a little extra to help throughout the weekend when they're not getting the free or reduced lunches. Sean Waybrand is in charge of that. You could definitely contact him, and he would love to have anybody come and help bag the food items as well. He does that every week, so he's really doing a great job with that. Warrior Winter Wishes. This is my busiest time of the year, so you guys are going to hear a lot of programs right now, since you had me now. Warrior Winter Wishes is in full effect. It's a holiday program for grades 6 through 12. Again, we kind of see that lack of support for our secondary students. There aren't any programs that I know of for students 12 and over. So we're trying to kind of fill that void. If you'd like to sponsor a student, I have some sponsor sheets I'll put in the back, or you can always give me a call or send me an email as well. I'll put some of my cards back there too. Just spreading awareness and education within the community, explaining what homeless is, what that looks like, and what does it look like here, and kind of just seeing what it looks like other places as well. And that would be part of that poverty simulation as well, or having Sonia come down and speak. There's also an app called Finding Your Way in PA that offers a lot of resources for our students and our families to kind of see what's in the area or what's around for them. Participating in or organizing food or clothing drives is always helpful. Donating to Warrior Helping Hands, again, Mr. Morris, thank you very much for doing that. Those are also on my signature and my email, so I'd be more than happy to send you those links. And just supporting like local systems. We actually recently went to a meeting, and we have started working more with Head Start to identify, because maybe I should have said this earlier too. A lot of students, not a lot, but some of the students that we're identifying are also preschool students. They are, there's a 6-month-old to your 12th, your senior in high school that I know that we have identified right now. So when we have families with younger children, again, we're just trying to make sure that we support them, and we're making sure that they are seen and heard and get whatever they may need. Gettysburg Cares should be opening, I'm not sure when, but momentarily. That is a warm shelter for when it's cold weather. It's through the churches, Gettysburg churches, or Adams County churches. SCAP provides a lot of our resources. South Central Community Action Plan, and then of course you have the Gettysburg Soup Kitchen. And these are just some of the ways that if you would like to help, you can, not just within our school district, but within the community as well. Okay. I think that's all I had.
Thank you so much.
Does-
Go ahead, Al.
I knew I could count on you, Al.
You thought you were going to get away.
No, I knew you'd probably say something.
So, well, first of all, a big thank you on behalf of the entire community. I think when she dies, she's going straight to heaven.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Thank you.
Jen, one of the reasons I'm guessing that we're identifying more kids maybe than other districts is the fact that you and others are going out to remote locations.
Yes.
I remember visiting you over, you're sitting on a picnic table out there and so on. Would you agree with that? And what other things are you all doing that you think is really working in identifying the kids?
I would agree. We really try to get out into the community. We're trying to build that bridge between school and community and families. We are also building relationships with other community partners. That's been really helpful. I'm actually going to be talking to children and youth about what my position here is and what we can offer, and homelessness as well, to kind of continue to identify. We go to hotels and motels. We have posters that we hang up anywhere that they'll let us. Something else I was thinking that we do, and I just lost it. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We are going to the SCAP shelter once a month in the evenings for a couple hours. I haven't really met a family there that is we just started that this year. I haven't met a Gettysburg family yet. There are a lot of other school districts there, but it's nice that we can then kind of communicate with their homeless liaisons and let them know, hey, this is what your student is, where they are, this is what they need. So it's, again, just getting the communication out there and the education so that people know that we're here and we have these opportunities to help them when they're in need.
Jen, also, I've been through some of the poverty simulations, and I would agree, it's very eye-opening. It's also very depressing and kind of sad. I'll just go ahead and say that, full disclosure. Obviously, those kids that are most vulnerable kids, many of them are coming to school with a lot of other things on their mind besides math and language arts
Yes.
and science. In general, the kids that we've identified, are we, just like we're doing with all the other kids, progress monitoring those kids, how they're doing academically? Do you have any data or any statistics on, how they're getting along from an academic standpoint?
Not with me. I would say that we can see definitely an improvement if we're meeting their basic needs, if we're doing, what we can, and we're checking in with them. The counselors are checking in with them. I'm checking in with them. Some of our family navigators are checking in, just to try to support them as much as we can. And then there is definite growth there, because once you meet a child's basic needs, they have more opportunity and more ability to focus on school. Actually, last year, here's a prime example. We had an unaccompanied youth who graduated last year. She was unaccompanied for most of her high school experience, and she is now at college at Messiah. So, yeah, so with the McKinney-Vento, that's another thing. With the college, we can send a form, a verification form, and then they also receive assistance in college for financial aid and even being able to stay on campus throughout breaks if they don't have somewhere to go. And there's more services, so it's kind of like a warm handoff there, too.
Yeah, it's great to hear success stories. And then kind of my final thing, is there anything else that your colleagues, the administration, the board, I know you had a long list there, and I appreciate you sharing those links, and as much as possible, sharing those, getting those links out to the community and churches and so on.
Yes.
So a big thank you for that. But overall, you feel like you've got the resources you need to do the job that you need to do?
At this point, I feel like I do. We just had a grant, and honestly, it's kind of new actually to be invited here, so thank you all for doing that in the first place, and wanting to know about our homeless population. So I feel like we're really, this year I feel like we have more resources than we have in the past. So I feel like we're just starting to see that, yes, the community is listening, yes, they're hearing our needs and what's going on in our district, and they're starting to respond. Yeah, and maybe those relationships too.
Thank you.
Of course.
Ryan?
I want to say, no child should go without, so what you're doing is fantastic. Does the state offer us any support based on numbers? Or do we get any money from the state for this kind of stuff?
We do get some money from the state. With COVID, we did receive a nice grant that we put towards a lot of supply. Like we have book bags with hygiene items. We did a lot with like hot spots, things like that. Honestly, that's one of the most difficult areas of need is hot spots, because they can't get internet unless they're at a hotel or a motel. We did some cell phones where we paid for some minutes for them or the families so that they would be able to call and get the resources that they, required. So we do get some finances. I wouldn't say it's a tremendous amount, and I don't know that it's based on numbers. I think they just kind of divvy it out per the regions, and then the regions do the best they can with what they get.
So maybe that's something our legislative liaison could help us out with?
Al, I believe he's referring to you. In reference to funding and for hotspots and cell phones and some other electronics to allow the kids to do their studies if they're not
And it's the
in
parents.
the
I mean,
hotel.
they're trying to find, they're trying to find jobs. They're trying to maintain those. And when you don't have basic needs or even, the ability to give someone a phone number to call you for an interview, it makes it a lot more difficult, or apply for the position online. We do go to the library a lot and try to help our parents there, or at, coffee shops, fast food restaurants. But they can't always get there either. So.
Yeah, and I've talked to Mal Ecker and Mastriano and so on, and with the horrible inflation that we're all experiencing, it's made
Yeah.
it that much tougher.
It really
I'll
has.
keep Ryan. That's a good suggestion. I'll keep pushing them.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Jennifer, thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Dave, any citizen? No, okay, I'm being told 0 on the citizens' participation. That moves us to our routine approvals. There's been a request tonight to separate several of them. So we're going to do it in block form on 3 separate votes. 5.1 through 5.4. 5.1 being the agenda. 5.2, regular board minutes, October 7th, 2024. 5.3, regular board minutes, October 21st, 2024. And lastly, 5.4, approval of the Jacoby transportation drivers. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Question on a motion on the floor. Hearing none, roll call. Cindy?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The next motion that I'm going to ask is 5.5. It's the approval of the overseas trip, France. May I have a motion for 5.5, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the floor.
I have a question.
Michelle?
We had received an email earlier this month or last month about from a parent whose child was asking about going to National FFA, and apparently they were told that they couldn't because of insurance purposes, which I don't know anything about it. I'm just asking. So I don't have a problem with the France trip. I think it's a great trip. My kid went to Germany last year. But my question is kind of going to be like, well, if we can't let kids go out of state, why are we letting anybody go out of the country? Can we just
Jason?
clarification?
Yeah, hello. I'm not sure the specific instance that you're talking about. Some trips are school-sponsored trips. Some trips are run through the school through a third-party organization where there's a little bit more leeway with some of those. They'd have to contact the principal or Dr. Matzner to get an answer on that, just because they're different. Trips are handled differently at different organizational levels, and also for say like a classroom versus like say Technology Student Association versus a different group. So those are all handled differently from different budgets. Sometimes the kids completely provide the funds from their families. Sometimes the district provides the funds. Sometimes it's a combination. So there are lots of different ways that the kids travel. So I'm not specifically aware of the trip that you're mentioning.
Cindy?
Thank you. So is this, where are the funds coming from for this particular trip then?
Families.
Families, okay.
Are there any additional questions on the motion on the floor? Hearing none, roll call. Alice?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The last of the routine approvals is 5.6. It's the Human Resources recommendations. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the floor?
I looked at this earlier, but I'm not sure. Is this the one that includes our communications person?
It does, and I'll take a moment after because we have a motion in the middle of the floor here to
Gotcha.
recognize.
Okay.
Yes, but to answer your question, yes. Any additional question on the motion on the floor? Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Cindy?
No.
Al?
Yes.
And I vote yes, and I'll turn the floor over to Jason.
So the board just affirmatively approved Vanessa as communications coordinator. Welcome, Vanessa, who will start with us shortly. TBA. To be
Okay to make a comment?
Yeah, well, just to add for those people that are watching us online, Vanessa has been a long-time fixture, so to speak, in our boardroom reporting on our meetings with the Gettysburg Times. So I'm going to let Al have the floor. On behalf of the board, we welcome you to a new opportunity, and we look forward to working with you.
And thank you, President Hassinger. Vanessa, I just want to add and say publicly, I think you're one of the most professional people in the newspaper business that I've ever dealt with. And the thing that I appreciated most about you was your professionalism when you were quoting somebody. If you weren't sure of what was said, you went the extra mile and you reached out and made a phone call, and you wanted to get it right. Many people in that profession, unfortunately, do not do that, and I've been misquoted many times. So I just want to say, from a personal standpoint, I appreciate your professionalism, and also from a professional standpoint and a personal standpoint, I think you'll do a great job for Gettysburg School District. Congratulations.
Anything additional? Moving on to items for board action, 6.1, Policy 210, use of medication. May I have a motion, please? Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to combine 6.1 and 6.2. 6.1 is 6.1 Policy 210, use of medication, and 6.2 Policy 251, students experiencing homelessness in foster care and/or experiencing educational instability. May I have a motion for both of the action items?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a question on one or both of the action items on the floor? Hearing none, roll call. Cindy?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That brings us to our information items, and I'll check with Dr. Parent if he has anything for us this evening.
There are no information items on the agenda. I will just mention that there's no school for students this Friday, and that K to 8 have parent conferences Thursday and Friday.
Thank you. Board committee reports?
Yep, Mr. President, the policy committee will reconvene next Tuesday at 4 p.m. here in the administration building.
Any additional? Before we get to the calendar of events, I'll just announce that immediately following the board meeting, this board will go into executive session on a personnel matter. So I would kindly ask at the end of the meeting if we could exit so that we could take care of our final business of the evening in executive session. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 18th at 7 o'clock here in the boardroom. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Kenny, really quick. I'm sorry. I didn't know where to sneak it in. I just have an item from the floor. I'm on the, maybe this is a committee report. I don't know. I'm on the Gettysburg Area Education Foundation Board. And just giving a reminder just for the sake of nonprofits in Gettysburg, but on Thursday, November 7th, coming up this week is the Giving Spree. And GAEF is in that, as well as many other wonderful organizations in town. It's online this year, so just check it out.
No problem at all, Alice. You can just let me know. It's all good. Just going backwards here, on November 18th at 7 o'clock, our next meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.